So, for the past few months, which is crazy how time flies, almost half a year now, actually over it by the time I'm recording this, which is right after Book 14, Werewolf of Fever Swamp, I've been covering every Goosebumps book, sticking to release order, which is pretty simple, for now. In about 10 books from now, we'll be getting to the point where Give Yourself Goosebumps and Tales to Give You Goosebumps will start coming out, and then it's all a mess. Along that journey, I've been lucky that 100 of you guys have decided to subscribe, something I never thought possible. So as a tribute to that, I'll be taking a detour to cover a few stories that are a little too short for their own video, so let's take a look at them. I'll be covering each one in its own little section. But obviously, before we can get to the summaries, I gotta show you what they look like and why they even exist. So first is our trio of short stories, Don't Make Me Laugh, Bad Dog, and The Halloween Game. The backs of them hint how to get these, but the end of the books have a lot more depth. The easiest one to get was probably Don't Make Me Laugh. For that one, you just needed to find it inside marked bags of Frito-Lay's chips like Doritos, Ruffles, Cheetos. For Bad Dog, you had to mail a product code for Pepsi products, or 2 UPC codes if you tried to save money buying a 2-liter bottle instead. And finally, for a Halloween Game, you had to buy bags of Hershey's own candy for Halloween and send in 2 codes. This was the hardest one for me to find personally. Probably because this book was supposed to come with the Haunted Library, a very expensive piece of cardboard you could store each of the books in. So the odds of getting this one separated from the library was low, but eventually, we got it. Next are the November 1996 and March 1997 issues of Disney Adventures magazine. As you can see from the cover here, there was a competition to finish R.L. Stine's story. That story will be covered, well, when we get there. Lastly, we have a very beat-up copy of The Time We Ran Away, a collection of short stories by children's authors that is only meant for the school market. Let's move on to the summaries, and first up we have Don't Make Me Laugh. So when you hear a title called Don't Make Me Laugh, what do you think it's about? If you somehow expected tickling, you were right. Our main characters Luke and Josh are the local ticklers. The book starts with them pinning down a kid named Billy and tickling him. His little brother Sam tries to help him, but he's the most ticklish kid in town, so we're already off to a great start. 2 boys that basically just assault their whole town. While terrorizing Sam, a shadow passes over, and when they finally let Billy and Sam go, they look around to find a spaceship. Not only a spaceship, but an alien is in front of it. For such a short story, the alien is described in great detail. He's a little over 2 foot tall, the color of a purple onion, and his face is blank, like a purple onion. He has silver overalls and a round belly. He's barefoot with 3 long toes and 3 long fingers. And the spaceship, well, it looks like a straw hat. So, standing at the edge of first alien contact, Luke and Josh run away. They don't get far as a bunch more aliens appear to take them into the ship. The ship blasts off and one of the aliens forms a mouth on its face to say, "I am the captain. My name is Krog." The aliens need Luke and Josh's special power to bring laughter to their planet. They need to make the king and queen laugh or they'll be stuck away from the earth forever. Brought before the king and queen, it's time for the boys to flex their tickling skills, but unfortunately, the aliens aren't ticklish. To the disintegration room. Oh no! One more chance. This time they try some funny faces, which still doesn't work. Faced with incoming disintegration, the boys start crying. What else can you do? But then the aliens begin to laugh. Look how they leak water from their eyes. How funny! The boys keep crying, tears of joy now. Eventually, the king and queen laugh so hard it hurts their stomachs. That's when they remember why they don't laugh on this planet. It hurts too much. Back to the disintegration room. No good ending for these boys, it seems. Being disintegrated was a guarantee. The lesson I learned from this story? Don't tickle every person you see, you freak. So this title seems a lot clearer. Maybe a Cujo situation? Well, this one is about Kathy and her brother Sean, who always take a shortcut through a graveyard on the way home from school. Unlike most Goosebumps kids, these two actually like going to school. A dog appears from behind a tombstone. It has mangy yellow fur, one swollen shut eyeball, and the other eye is yellow. The description actually reminds me of the dog from the TV show intro, though they aren't exactly the same. Kathy tries to shoo the dog away, but he won't move. Sean is afraid of dogs, though, so he starts to run, and Kathy follows. Looking back, the dog is gone. The kids do their homework, and they even have a cat named Fluff. Sean goes to ride his bike, but right as Kathy hears the garage door open, she also hears barking, and Sean screaming. Kathy, the brave girl she is, grabs the dog's collar and drags it away, calling it a bad dog the whole time. The dog walks away, and both kids see Judy and Martin watching them. They're both kids from school who showed up earlier at the graveyard. I just didn't mention them because I didn't know if they were relevant or not. Judy said it wasn't her dog, but why are they here? The next day, the kids pass through the graveyard just to find the dog again. Judy and Martin are watching them too, but when Kathy yells at them to help, they run away. Again, Kathy grabs the dog's collar. Despite all of its struggling, Kathy is strong enough to keep dragging him. Her plan is that if they just take him all the way out to the woods, to the next neighborhood, he won't come back. After walking in the woods for maybe miles, they reach the edge of the woods and let the dog go. The dog tries not to leave, but it walks away eventually. Despite being an hour late to school, there are no repercussions, and they even stay an hour late just to keep doing schoolwork. Model students right here. So they leave the school, and who else is there at the stairs but the dog? It begins barking at them again, backing them into a corner at the school until Judy and Martin show up. In a twist that reminds me of a few books now, they accuse Kathy and Sean of being ghosts, because dogs always know, and guess what? They are ghosts. So they admit it. But Judy and Martin can't call the dog off, because they're ghosts too. They were just making sure that our main characters were also ghosts, because if any living person finds out the truth that they are ghosts, they go to hell or something, I don't know. So Kathy has an idea, and the group runs all the way to her house. She takes that cat Fluff outside, and it starts chasing the dog around. Everyone laughs. Dogs hate ghosts, but they hate ghost cats even more. The lesson of this story is, well, there really isn't one. I guess if a random dog starts barking at you, you might be a ghost. And if two random kids start staring at you, maybe they're ghosts too. Nothing really bad happens in this story, you just kind of get the rug pulled out from under you. Oh well. On to the last book we have in this small collection, Halloween Game. What will take place? A Jumanji situation? A Haunted Mask situation? I don't know. Well, I do now, it's just... I wrote that before I read it and recorded it. So this tale is about a group of friends, Krista, Carl, and our main character with a currently unknown name. They're all going out to trick-or-treat. The first house they go to is Miles' house. He's the weird kid at school who lives in a creepy mansion. I feel bad because our main character says he looks weird enough even without a costume on. He invites them all in to play a Halloween game, and despite them only being 12 years old, this is too old to go trick-or-treating, so let's play. The rules of the game are as thus. Miles' Aunt Frida's house is 3 blocks away, and it looks exactly the same as his house. Whichever child gets the most candy from her house and brings it back here within 30 minutes wins. The walk to the mansion is calm at the beginning, but only a block in, a shadow moves in the darkness. Then get this, a literal Black Panther just shows up and stalks the whole group. They all run, but Carl falls and breaks his arm immediately. They have to let him go, so our MC and Krista climb up a tree. They hear Carl scream and then silence. Well, he's dead. Guess it's back to the game. The two finally make it to the block Miles mentioned, and every single house is identical. Time to trial and error every single one. But at the first house they try, a burst of flame comes from the backyard. And what could have caused it except for a dragon? It bites down on the princess wings Krista is wearing and begins to drag her away. Our MC miraculously finds a prop sword left by some kid and decides to charge head on. Of course, the sword is a toy, so it falls apart on impact, leaving Krista kidnapped. Alone now, our MC sees the next house open up and just feels compelled to keep playing. It's pitch black inside, but he can see other kids picking up candy. Our MC goes upstairs to find some candy, but then, a ghoul. No, 3 ghouls. No, 6 ghouls. He freezes, and so do the ghouls. What's going on? We smash cut to an office where businessmen huddle around a computer. A young guy with some 90s gamer attributes like a tied-back ponytail and an earring in one ear asks, "How did you like the game?" He thinks the graphics are great and it's full of action. A businessman he's talking to finds it funny that the dev named the character after his kids, showing us that the MC's name was Robbie. However, the man says their company won't be buying the game. Kids won't like it. Not scary enough. What a meta ending. I honestly expected the kids to be playing Dungeons & Dragons by the end of this, and they kind of were. It was like they were just rolling their old random encounter tables. I mean, hey, I've been playing Final Fantasy lately. You find some crazy encounters just walking around on the field. I like the fact that the businessman liked that the main characters were named after his children, not caring about the fact that he was watching them get brutally killed within the game. The lesson here is, don't make horror games? Which is funny because the Escape from Horrorland game released shortly after these, and it did pretty well. I'll be covering this when we get to book 16. Well, that was the Goosebumps Haunted Library. Was it worth buying all the soda, chips, and candy? Yeah, probably. Don't Make Me Laugh was definitely an interesting place to start. It was easily the weirdest one and with the bleakest ending. Bad Dog is kind of the opposite. Fine, although the dogs see ghosts or accusing other people of being ghosts is something we have seen and will see more of. Halloween game? Abrupt. Confusing. Meta. Like, where did the names Miles and Aunt Frida come from if the other characters were named after the businessman's kids? Why did he name them that? Did he really think it would help get the game sold? Now it's time for our 2 issues of Disney Adventures. Like all of the original Goosebumps books, I wasn't alive when these were published, so I had no clue these ever existed. I wonder if any of them had some cool articles on Kingdom Hearts. Oh look, an ad for the Haunted Library books. On to the actual contest found on page 43. The surprise on the 13th floor. For the contest, people were given a paragraph from R.L. Stine and they had to write the rest of the story. Because it's just a paragraph, I'll still summarize it, but I'll leave the image right here for you all to read. Just from Stine's opener, we learned that Jack and Lindsay are in some building with an elevator, and the 12th floor is apparently where Jack's uncle's magic shop is. The 12th floor is also definitely the top floor. So they both get in and are surprised when after they reach floor 12, the elevator keeps going and stops at floor 13. Of course, now the door opens and they don't believe what they see. And so it was left up to the fans to finish that cliffhanger. Before the winner though, let's see what you would have won. There were a surprisingly large amount of winners, 150 it shows here, but our real focus is what our grand winner would win. A CD-ROM for Escape from Horrorland. When we get to that book pretty soon, be prepared for it. A set of 6 audiobooks, whatever, not my cup of tea. A copy of Calling All Creeps, the next book releasing at the time. A Goosebumps toy collection, which I would love to have right now. To be honest, all these toys are probably worth the rest of the rewards combined. A copy of both the Shrieks and Spiders game, which I don't have, and a copy of Terror in the Graveyard, which I do have. A membership to the fan club, of course, publication of the story, and finally a fan letter from R.L. Stine himself. Amazing. And for our winner, that honor went to Cheryl Hotchkiss of Milpitas, California. Listen everyone, I desperately tried to see if there was a way to contact, just even send a private message or an email to her about this, but I couldn't find a valid way to contact her at all. And I am nowhere near where the internet thinks she lives, so I'm not going to barge into her home. Concluding that, I hope she's having a great life still, and I hope she still has that fan letter. Enough of the FOMO of not being alive for this contest, let's finish the story. It's coupled with this bizarre artwork, and you can pretty much tell the plot just from what you're seeing here. Similar to Let's Get Invisible, the door opens to exact copies of Jack and Lindsay. They seem creepy and they even talk in unison. They say they're friends of their uncle and tell our main characters that this floor is awesome. It seems Jack's uncle is less of a simple magician and more of an actual mage. He was trying to learn a funny spell where whenever the kids would stand in front of the mirror, their lookalikes would do the exact opposite. Instead, he casted it wrong and these doppelgangers were released from the mirror. With no way to undo it, Uncle just built the whole floor for them to stay in as long as they don't cause trouble. The kids still feel creeped out by the place, but their twins urge them to stay. You can have anything you want in this place too! At the mention of that, a basketball materializes in Jack's hands. He's in a packed stadium, and he makes an amazing slam dunk. Lindsay looks at Jack as if he's a maniac. It was all within his head. Apparently, unless you want someone to see your wish, they can't. Lindsay takes her own turn to do some modeling, and as the fun winds down, the twins head to the elevator. Wait a minute. You're supposed to stay here, not us. The twins posit that they can have anything here. Think about the fact that if they take their place, they'll never have to deal with bratty siblings, homework, or chores again. Somehow, having the maturity to realize that the unpredictability of life is its own benefit, the kids get into a fight with the twins. Jack scrambles into the elevator with Lindsay and presses the button. That's when he notices Lindsay having the same evil grin. Like her double. Surprise. Yeah, this is definitely something that seems like R.L. Stine would write it. I would have maybe liked to see more of the uncle, but this Let's Get Invisible-esque twist is certainly good enough. Very well made for a 14-year-old too. And to all the other people who won a prize, congrats. If someone watching this actually won or at least entered the competition, I would love that. Please let me know. Oh, and I guess if we're keeping up with the lessons from these stories, don't have a spellcasting uncle? For our final story today, let's wind down with a short little tale from The Time We Got Away, the collection from earlier. The Goosebumps story in here is actually its own teensy tiny little addition to the Monster Blood series called Don't Open the Monster Blood. Unlike the other stories here, this one's quite recent, written in 2017, just 4 years before Monster Blood is Back would release in 2021. The story revolves around Eddie and his sister Maggie. Eddie always loves when his grandpa Hugh comes to visit because he tells great stories and he gives great presents. Today, a little before Eddie's 12th birthday, Grandpa got him a green and purple box. Eddie asks if he can open it, but Grandpa says no. After being set on the windowsill, the box clearly has the words Monster Blood written on it in droopy letters. Grandpa Hugh gets serious and tells them to never open it under any circumstances. See, this is a bad start. Never tell a kid not to do anything, because they'll do it. Especially if it's not to open a present for their birthday. After dinner, Grandpa leaves, and back in Eddie's room, Maggie immediately wants to open it. She thinks Grandpa's just testing them, and even if he was serious, they can just take a quick peek and then close it. He'll never know. And so they peek inside. It's empty. Hold on. Maggie reaches in and pulls out a green ball the size of a marble, which quickly grows to the size of an egg, then a grapefruit, then a softball. As it keeps growing, it starts to envelop Maggie. Panicking, Eddie calls Grandpa, to which he calmly reiterates that he warned them, and if Eddie follows the instructions on the box, it should be easy to fix. As Maggie screams for help, Eddie finds the slip of paper, but there's a problem. Maggie yells at him to read it, which he does. It says, "For instructions, write to Monster Blood Inc., P.O. Box 142, Hadley, Missouri." Needless to say, those kids are dead. It wasn't even a test by Grandpa. I think he literally just wanted to kill his grandchildren. I don't even get the ending, really. It's so detailed for a fake address. You would think it's a reference, but as far as I know, this never appears in any other book. I would think it would be funnier to just leave it as "Write to Monster Blood Inc., but then you still need the address. Oh, who knows. For our final lesson of the video. Never open a mysterious box from your grandpa if he tells you not to. You might die. And so that concludes our short journey through some of the most forgotten stories in Goosebumps history. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. I make Goosebumps summary videos every other Friday, and other content about games whenever I actually manage to get that done. Thank you all, especially for 100 subscribers, and have a great day.